So welcome, everybody. I'm excited for today. We got Kaylee. Kaylee's awesome. Not only is she awesome, that's why I'm excited about it, but this is very timely, right? Because this is a topic where everybody's like, how are my kids gonna be able to buy a house? How am I gonna be able to buy a house? The price ranges are so high, the interest rates are high. Things don't cash flow. What can we do? You gotta get creative. You gotta think of different alternatives. And I haven't looked at your slides, but I understand the concept, right? If we want to get into real estate, not just for us, which I hope all of you are into real estate investing as well and building your own portfolios. Hi, Barbara. This is Barbara, my mother-in-law, if you don't know Barbara. Yeah. But also conversation for our clients, right? Because we got a lot of fence sitters right now. It's like, I know I need to be in real estate, but I'm very scared. I'm kind of leery about where things are going. One of the conversations is, we'll just look back. When in the last 50 years are you glad you didn't buy real estate, right? We've got a real supply issue around here in Utah. And a lot of people want to buy. So our sales are down, but there's still a demand. The right price homes are still selling. People are figuring it out and people are still coming here. Utah makes a lot of babies and there's a lot of households formed every year and all that kind of stuff, but people are moving here. We got a lot of good industry going on and a lot of stuff. So anyway, take notes. Can I share your slides with them after?
Yeah. I mean, I'm more like a intuitive, we'll go where we go. The slides are,
Come on up here.
the slides don't give you much.
So
but
you can see your camera right there. This is where it just stands somewhat in this area, so you can see you in the slides. This is Kaylee Fawcett, everybody. She's amazing. We just love her being part of our group, and so I always am happy to share what you're doing.
Thanks.
Yeah, so introduce yourself any more than that you want to, and let's
Yeah.
rip into it. You're gonna have to use this, so I couldn't get the thing to work. So if you just leave it like that and hold it, then you can just, you can just click.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
Now you have to go back.
I
don't know what's going on.
Or just leave it on here and stand up.
Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna go.
Okay, we'll cut that part out. Awkward start.
Okay, this is me. I'm Kaylee Fawcett. I have 4 boys. Oh, let's see. I've been a real estate agent since 2020. I'll get into our story a little later. And the year that we started, I became an agent. We started investing. I grew up an Army brat, moving all over. And so I understand like living in houses that aren't perfect, or trying to make the most of your spaces, or sharing a bedroom forever. I understand all of that. I'm making a beautiful life in Eden, Utah. That's where we live. And I have been an HGTV watcher since the beginning. Did you guys ever watch Income Property? So it was filmed like in Canada, and it was all about basement apartments. Say it again.
Scott McGilvray.
Yeah, Scott. We watched that for like 10 years, you guys. And so, just to even tell you guys a little bit more about me is, I want to explain my brand, Let's Flip and Grow, because it'll get into, my values. And, I think the biggest thing to remember when you're doing real estate is that you get to do it how you want to. Yes, you can come to the classes and learn, but there are so many ways that you can grow your wealth in real estate. And you get to do it how it feels right to you. And so my brand is Let's Flip and Grow. And the let's part means we're doing it together. Can you do real estate like 100% by yourself? Like you really can't. I'm just going to tell you right now. You can't. Flipping part of it is because we flip houses and you can always add value to your properties, to your life, right? So flipping your properties. And then grow, you guys, the GROW actually stands for Generational Rehabbing of Wealth. Is that so cool? I know. And then I'll explain my logo. So if anybody wants to know how I landed on all of this, it's Sydney in the back was my coach through all of this. And so she really helped me. She was my partner while we developed this. So a house that looks unfinished because we can add value to our houses, you guys. The color green for abundance and renewal. These 4 leaves are for my 4 boys, signifying a generational journey in real estate, and then the vine of growth. So that's my brand, and those are the values that I'm bringing to you guys today.
Nice.
Okay, so, Okay, so does anyone want to take a stab at like a general definition of house hacking? Does anybody want to give me something? What is house hacking?
Come on, somebody other than me.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it could be, setting up so you're getting income from the house while you're living in the house.
Yes, I love it, because you didn't even say specifically a renter in there. House hacking in general is your house is making you money somehow. Whether I have 5 acres and I'm renting it to a farmer who's growing alfalfa, or I have an extra lot in the back and I'm charging people to park their RVs there. Or maybe I have a shop and a small business owner needs somewhere to like make their little trinkets and they're renting that space. House hacking is my property that I'm living on is making me money. Beyond that, if you just have a property that's making money, that's a rental, right? But house hacking has to do with I'm living in my space, in my home, on my property, and it's making me money somehow. Okay, so that's house hacking. So here's the story of our first house hack. We bought a house in 2012, which I know is so lucky because that's 2012 to 2022, right?
Yeah.
2012 was here's the very start of this like massive growth. So I didn't know that. Nobody really knows the projections. It's just when we got into it. Okay, so this was our very first time home. It's 24 when I bought this house. Doesn't it look like a forever home?
Yes, it does.
No.
Nice, yeah.
It's gone. It's not ours anymore. We sold it. But we bought this house. We knew we wanted to live in Mapleton. We knew we wanted to rent our basement because of that income property show. And so that's all and we knew our budget. So this was the only house for sale in Mapleton with a walkout basement when we were looking in our budget. We bought it. 3-car garage, 4,300 square feet. The entrance to the basement wasn't even that good, you guys. It was over here, which is so weird. So we built a sidewalk all the way around with motion sense lights. We finished the basement right away. We didn't have a job when we bought this house. This is my story, okay? I'm not recommending any of this, but it's my story. We got a co-signer, my father-in-law, to buy the house. And we got a loan from my parents, $30,000 to finish part of the basement for a basement apartment. We bought it in February, rented it in October. For the next 9.5 years, we got rent every month except for 1 month. In Mapleton, like kind of removed away. We weren't sure how it was gonna go. And our rent went from $11.50 in 2012 to in 2021, right before we sold, we were midterm rentaling it for $2,800 a month.
Good job.
Yeah. So we'll go through all of this, but okay, what do I
Tell
want
them
to?
what midterm means.
So I'll get to that later.
Okay.
It's actually on a slide. So we'll get to long-term renting, short-term, midterm in a minute. So that was amazing. Okay, we didn't have a job because we were volunteering like to get like secure that really cool job. And we did that a few months later. We refinanced my father-in-law out of it the next year, got rid of the PMI, all of that great stuff. In the meantime, we are living in, let's see, 2,100 square feet on the top and like 500 more square feet in the bottom. So I'm raising my family in 2,600 square feet of space while somebody else is renting 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms out of my basement. And we did that for 9.5 years straight, minus 1 little, where we didn't have rent in between. 1/3 of an acre. You guys, people were looking at us like we were crazy. 24 years old. I'm like, don't you love our house? And they're like, what are you doing? You're in over your head. And I'm like, well, I'm willing to have people rent my basement and you're not. Sorry. So, okay. So let's go to my stories. Okay, so that was our first house. We bought a house. We house hacked. In that time, we lost a job. But we were so secure in our house because we had that rent. And then we were able to stay in that beautiful home, okay? We had a W-2 for years, and every summer we were like, let's flip a house. No, that's too scary, okay? We lost the job and we finally got a flip. That's when I got my license and we got a flip. That was 2020, you guys. We didn't know what was coming. We made money holding on to that flip. And then the next year we made a lot of money on that flip. Okay, we made money and we were like, yes, we're gonna flip. This is great. I'm an agent. We're gonna flip. We're quitting our jobs. Let's do it. It was great until 2022. We had this house. And I'm just gonna. In 2022, we had this house, guys. It was beautiful. We did a great job. We ripped out a wall. We're putting in all this luxury custom tile. We're putting in these accent walls. We repurposed and stripped some cabinets like you were just telling me about. That's granite, you know, it's great. But this single family home that was over the median home sales price wasn't selling. 2022, June. It was not selling. Nope. Buyers went, no, we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna buy houses for 18 months. So then every time I showed this house, and buyers weren't even coming with agents, right, during that time either. It was so weird. So every time I opened the door to show that house, people started going to the basement and looking around. Where can I put in an extra set of stairs? Where can I put in a kitchenette? I'm like, what's the deal? They're like, well, my aunt's gonna move in with me. I'm looking for a house for me and my aunt. The next person, I'm looking for a house for me and my brother. And I'm like, are you serious? Am I going to have to put in a staircase to get this thing sold? We ended up being able to sell it. We lost $5,000 on that one, which I had friends that year, flipping friends that lost 200 grand. So I'm counting my blessings on that one. But I realized, so I go back here. That moment, we changed our flipping niche. And since then, every flip we've done, we've put in an ADU. They have sold, when it's time to put them back on the market, they have sold in a weekend for over asking price, every single one of them. So, guys, if you have questions or want to stop me, raise your hand or shout it out, okay? So the question is right now, can the median income afford the median priced home right now? Do you know the answer to that? No. Is affordability far off from where it was pre-pandemic? Right at this very moment, it's really not. Okay, so even though the median income can't afford the median priced home, looking back in history, they really haven't wanted to anyway. The median income has always come in a little lower because they don't want to be house poor, right? So that's the hot topic right now. Well, the median income can't afford the median priced home. And I'm like, historically, they really haven't wanted to anyway. They haven't bought that house, even if they can't afford it. And then affordability from our presentation 2 weeks ago with Alan, it's really not far off from where it was pre-pandemic. We're just still a little in shock is all. So, and when we talk about affordability, guys, we're talking about these three things like matching interest rates, wages, and house prices. That's like those three things combined is like where that affordability number comes from. Okay, interest rates are a little, well, now they've been stable, but they're higher than where they were in 2020, 2021, right? Our home prices skyrocketed and our wages are creeping up. They're still a little behind, but they're on their way. They're on their way to catching up with the house prices. So yes, affordability is down, but because of the stability that we saw in 2023 with the house prices kind of flatlining, was so good, you guys. Wasn't it so good that we could kind of like sit in the stability of the market? We are almost to where we were pre-pandemic. And that's really exciting. Okay, so if affordability and housing shortage are the main issues, then how do we help solve the problem? Creatively. And I believe house hacking is how we solve that problem. We help ourselves. We help our clients get into a house and not feel overwhelmed. They're still a little in shock. We as agents might have settled in to like the new normal because it's been a year, 18 months, but our clients still haven't, okay, for the most part. So we have to help them get into a house. And then since the shortage of housing that Jeff mentioned, we get to provide our communities with more housing. by providing these ADUs and these basement apartments. So house hacking benefits the individual and our state of Utah. And that is so exciting to me, you guys. We're agents in here, or we're looking at getting into real estate in here. There's no way, well, maybe you can, but for me and my values, there's no way I can think about serving in real estate, investing in real estate without thinking about like the future of our community, right? And how we can help address these needs of our community. So this is a good one, guys. This is a picture slide. A couple years ago, I don't remember the year that it passed, 21, House Bill 82 passed. House Bill 82 says, okay, these are lots of words. I'm just going to tell you what it says. It says that now you are allowed to have basically as many what am I trying to say? Non-related individuals living in your home. Before, the state of Utah tried to say, you can only have two. You can only have two people that aren't related to you living within the walls of your own house. And it's like, if I'm okay with having a family of 6 live in my basement, shouldn't I be allowed? And the state said, okay, if you're okay with it, then we're okay with it. And this, so there's a couple caveats, okay? House Bill 82 applies to you sharing the walls of your house. If it's detached, you don't get, it doesn't give you the same rights, okay? If it's detached. So it's saying, if you're okay with sharing a ceiling or a wall, do what you want. And it doesn't automatically allow for short-term rentals either. So it's got to be at least 30 days in most places. If you are thinking of house hacking or helping your clients house hack, you're going to call the county to make sure that we're good. The county's mostly going to say yes. Then you're going to call your favorite title person and say, grab me the CC&Rs to make sure I'm not breaking any rules, because there are luxury neighborhoods, guys, that still don't want this. Okay. I'm thinking like gated communities, Heidi Shaway, luxury neighborhoods are still not going to want this. But for the majority, the state of Utah is staying out of it. And I am so happy. It helps us help our clients. So that's really exciting.
Has that bill been put into the law already?
Yes, I think it was 2021 or 22. And it really does help that housing shortage, the low supply. There's not enough new builds and people aren't moving right now. They're not moving up, they're not moving out of the state. And so by creating those ADUs, and I think that's why ADUs are having so much success, it's because there is that shortage. 2 weeks ago when Alan Blood was here, he said there are 37,000 households more than doors in Utah. So you're talking houses and rentals. That doesn't make sense. Doors, like houses. There are 37,000 more households than doors. So they're just bumming with their friends anyways. Why not give them their own space? Okay, and then the future of Utah, land regulation. How much public land do we have in Utah? Tons. And not only that, we have like marshy, the weirdest lake in the world. Like, can't do anything with that. And so there's a lot of land that's not even buildable. So where are we gonna go? You know, we're all gonna go down to this little I-15 corridor. Strong job market. So people are still moving here. Desirable communities. It's a great place to live. And a growing population. So house hacking really helps all of these.
So what about the detached? Are you gonna address that?
Detached is you're just gonna have to call.
And make sure it's up.
So we live in Eden right now, and we were thinking, we're gonna build this detached garage and put a living space up there. Like Weber County was like, nope, it can't even have any plumbing running up there, nothing. Like they didn't even want it. Like
Appearing.
like someone was gonna live there. I could barely even have like electrical outlets up there. Like, so they will say no. Now that's pulling a permit. Pulling a permit, you're gonna get a big X. Like you can do what you want, but you might get in trouble. Like in our Mapleton basement, we tried, let's short-term rental this thing for a second. The neighbor was like, nope, got a letter, like. You're gonna get shut down, you have to be okay with the fact that you're gonna get shut down if you're doing something you're not allowed to be doing, right? I lost my train of thought, but so yeah, detached, you're just gonna have to call to make sure you're okay, and a lot of times it's just a quick phone call to the county. They'll plop in your address and see if you're allowed to have that detached living space. And then a lot of times you might be able to, but it can't be short term. So you just have to call. But also, just as a side story, last week I was up in Eden and this wholesaler had a house for us to look at. And it was a townhouse in Eden. And he says, short-term rentals are allowed. And I'm like, really? Okay, I kind of believed him because every condo, townhouse type neighborhood in Eden, it is allowed. So I called the county. The first lady at the desk said, it's not allowed. I'm like, that's weird because the wholesaler said it was. She transferred me. That lady looked up the same address and said, it is allowed. I'm like, really? Because who can I believe now? They're like, well, you can request a grandma report and see what the paperwork says. I'm like, so no one's giving me the right answers. I find a phone number to a guy on the HOA and I go, is this allowed? He's like, no, we will fine you as an HOA until you stop. So the HOA had their own. So short-term rental, you have to do your homework and help your clients do the homework. It really took me 5 minutes. I mean, it was a giant runaround, but that's why you really want a friend in the title too, because right after I got off the phone with HOA, I called my title gal and like, send me the CC&Rs. I gotta see this in writing. And then I call the wholesaler back and I'm like, it's not allowed. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, you don't have a deal here, dude. And he wasn't able to sell it. So. Okay, let's go over the benefits of house hacking. Okay, ADU, accessory dwelling unit, right? That's what it means. The best thing that happened on the MLS last year is you can search ADUs and they have it separate. All the stats and measurements and size of the ADU and bedroom count and all of that, you can look that up. It's my favorite feature ever. So ADUs, you can, control find, type ADU in on your MLS report and see what it says there. Okay. I'm gonna get a drink of water really quick. Yes, as far as helping your clients, this is a great list. So it helps offset housing costs. If they're trying to get into a house and they feel really stressed about the payment, even though the lender says you are qualified for this, and they're like, I hate this, that's a great benefit. Create passive income, right? They're not having to do much, but they're getting a check every month. That's really fun to not have to work too hard for money, good money. Add value to the property, adding that kitchen in there and having a way for the next buyer to be able to house hack or have that generational living adds value to the house. Generational living, I love that. Our flips, it's interesting. I would have thought that like most of our flips would be like a successful single person coming in and renting out bedrooms or renting out. A lot of times it's family. It's like a adult son and his mom, newly divorced mom moving in or something like that. It's really cool to see who buys our flips. And a lot of times it's just these families helping each other out. Housing security. Like I said, we lost the job while we were in that big, beautiful home. And we were like, are we gonna have to move to a condo? I'm like, oh no, our payment would be twice as high. We're paying $800 to live in this house. And so that housing security is incredible. Increase your income. So you can report your rental income from your ADU, your basement apartment, or however you set it up. And it can go towards your debt to income ratio. That's fabulous. Versatility. Okay, I have versatility and flexibility, and in my mind they were different. Let's see if I can make them different again. Versatility. Okay. So when we bought our house, the idea was, then we'll remove that door that separates our main house with the basement, And we'll live in the whole thing. Our kids can have their own bedrooms and everything. We never gave them their own bedrooms because I was like, I don't want a 4,300 square foot house. I like was sick of cleaning it. So, but you have the versatility of one day. They've been in the house for 3, 4, 5 years and they're growing their family. They can just take over that whole house and they won't have to move, right? Long-term investment, the appreciation game, guys. You get your clients into a house and then they get to build that equity. Okay, flexibility is where we were able to long-term rent our basement. We did short-term for a blip until we got that letter. And then we went to midterm. And those are all different pros and cons, right? Long-term renter, you're gonna have in there very low, like headache, and you're gonna get that check, but it's like a minimal check. Short-term renting, if you can, will get you probably the most amount of money. But you're turning it over nonstop, depending on if you're gonna be making those beds on a Sunday afternoon. Or if you're gonna hire somebody to do that, it's a lot of turnover. Midterm, you get the people who are going through a divorce, who are building. I had a lady come in who from China, but her daughter was getting married here, stayed for 6 weeks to help with the wedding, like, and that rent is sweet and low, what am I trying to say? Like low maintenance, yes. Low needs on life.
How do you market to the midterm?
Midterm is interesting. We still had our Airbnb listing, but then we said 30 days, at least 30 days. And then they're able to, click on their 30-day block and see what that price would be. But around here too, there is a lot of construction companies coming in for 3 months at a time. So we even had that, but they looked on Airbnb. Okay, I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole for just a second. Once you get a construction crew that has come in, you can almost have it like clockwork. You can reach out to them. Hey, do you know any other construction companies that are doing this? And that's huge. They leave it a little messier. Like I had dirt like in every crevice of my laminate flooring down there. But it's still great money, 3 months at a time. And then somebody else asked me the question, well, how much of a gap are you having in between these midterm? A week, maybe, at the most.
If you get a source, like you described, that's key.
Insurance companies. If a family gets displaced due to fire or flood or something.
Yep, insurance companies, yeah. So midterm was really interesting, but think of all the people building or divorces or moving here. It was incredible how like we had that thing booked with midterm. It was really cool. And it's still helping with the need, right? Like short-term rentals, is it helping with that overall need of the community like I was talking about? Not really. It doesn't really like make you feel like you're serving your community. I guess you're bringing in tourist money, but there are hotels. There's vacancies, right? But the midterm, it really is filling a need for a lot of people who are like, I'm not gonna sign a year-long lease and have to lose a deposit because I'm gonna cancel, Yeah, you have to furnish it. I furnished it like, so like with our leftover stuff. We're like, hey, are you getting rid of that bunk bed? Can I have it? Yeah. And then provide housing opportunities, just like we talked about. I love the idea of helping people have a place to live and not have to bum you guys. Okay, any other questions here? Okay, so layout and logistics, guys. So people are like, so how much does it cost you to build out a new walkout? I'm like, I've never built a walkout basement. I just go in a home and see how it could work. And this is what you guys can do for your clients. You can go in and you can be the one with the vision and say, I see it, the door will go right here. Okay, sometimes depending on the neighborhood and how the setup is, sometimes we even key it differently. We'll key it for 2 units. Again, this is not a legal duplex because the person buying it will be owner occupied and renting out their basement. But sometimes we've keyed it separately Sometimes we haven't, just depending on like the flow and the neighborhood. You have to make sure you have enough parking. You'll get like flagged on that on your neighborhood. We put in a second kitchen. Most of the time we've put a stackable laundry in the basement. And then one time it was really already set up for a shared laundry space. It was crazy. I was like, that's great. And we left it like that. The flow has to be nice. Meaning, I love when I'm going to sell, okay, if you're helping a client, it's whatever flow they want, right? But if I'm flipping a house, I like the option of having a buyer who will want a house hack and a buyer who may want the whole house. So that option is there. So maybe it's just a door separating it, but if they were to take out that door, it makes complete sense. The whole house makes complete sense. Okay, this plumbing, you guys. I'm not a big fan of sump pumps. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because, okay, so you're gonna walk in the house. You're gonna go downstairs with your client. Say it's not set up for an ADU yet, but you're like, oh, maybe this could work. And that main plumbing stuff, the thickest one you can find, if it goes all the way through the ground, you're gonna go like, yes, we can put in a toilet. If it goes out the side like that, you're going to leave. Okay, because if you want a toilet in there, you now need a sub pump, which grinds up your number 2 and brings it up and out. When that thing overflows, it goes under your floor. When it breaks. And then you have to take out your floor and there's number 2 all over it. Okay, so just walk away, no sub pumps, just none, just don't do it, okay? But that's literally all you have to look for. The flow, like, can we make this work? Okay, there's parking. Okay, I see how laundry's gonna work. And maybe here in Salt Lake, maybe they don't need laundry. Maybe they're used to going to a laundromat anyway. I don't know that. I've only really ever done suburbia. But that main plumbing stack is huge. And that's really all you need to know. Look at, And sometimes even before showing a house, I'll call an agent and be like, is there a side door? Is there a, like what kind of door situation do we have? So we're gonna try to watch this video. Let's cross our fingers.
Sure, the sound.
I can just talk.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what we look for. When we're. Okay, so see how this house is a side entrance? We're gonna go up there. So the main homeowner will have the front door, which I thought people aren't gonna wanna buy this. No, it's their first time home. They really want a house. They're going to use just a front door and give their side door to their tenant. So this one came to a landing. We've all seen a million houses like this, guys, 40s through 60s. I put this door here, that goes straight down into the basement apartment. Okay, Garrett, my husband wanted to leave that nasty old railing, but whatever. Okay, so we added that door and that goes right into the kitchen. So if they didn't have a renter, they'd be able to utilize the door like that. But if they do have a renter, then they will close it. And voila, the rest of the house is all over here. So those side entrances on houses that are like built 40s through 60s are golden. They work like almost every time. And we've never built an actual walkout. We just find houses that we can do this. Questions on that?
Do you and your husband do all the work on it, or do you have contractors to help you?
We have contractors. My husband's the general contractor. I'm somewhat of the designer. My husband did choose to paint these doors black without my permission, but it was beautiful. It just cost it a little more. Yeah, he did that. Yeah, but it was great.
I actually see Jordan Fox doing a lot of dark doors too.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
So with your house hacking, so are you doing it the whole house and you're not living in it or anything?
Right now, we're just flipping them. Yep.
Right, okay.
Mhm.
How do you make them so that there's more sound than the floors?
So this door can be like a solid core door.
Okay. What
Um,
about
and then
floors?
you do just some more insulation or you do extra padding. But also, don't overthink that because people need places to live. And the renter who's willing to live under you knows that they're living under you. I had 4 boys and my last one sounded like an elephant going down the hall. Did they care? No,
It's
They're
more
happy to have a
like my daughter lives in our basement
Uh-huh,
and she can hear every conversation we have.
oh,
And my son lived, and his wife lived there before, and they could hear every conversation we had. I can't hear them,
that's embarrassing.
but they can hear
So they don't
everything.
speak to you anymore.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly, my son and his wife, she doesn't speak Spanish.
Oh.
But he does, and they're the ones with one grandchild, but my other daughter, she hears. That, my point is how do you, it's not so much them hearing, it's not so much
You don't
us
hear
being
that.
bothered, but it's them, it's the privacy.
Did you have something to say to that?
Yeah, so what I've done for some of my rentals is you can do carpet. Carpet alleviates a lot of
Yeah.
sound going through the floor, and you can do like a denser carpet with the nice mat, soundproofing mat underneath.
Mhm.
And that really helps, like they have specific matting. And then you also have the vents,
The vents carry a lot of
that
sound.
carry sound so
So just
clear.
don't talk near a vent.
Yeah.
Well,
Or you can even like rearrange your vent if it's not too difficult to open somewhere else.
Mhm.
because my mom's she had renters in their basement, I was sleeping upstairs in her guest room. And yeah, they were newlyweds.
Yeah.
So a lot of, but there is insulation that is massively sound like barrier, right? So if you really wanted to make that improvement, you would take out your drywall.
Oh, ceiling tiles too. They
Yeah.
have soundproofing ceiling tiles.
Yes. You could put a really great insulation in there and then with ceiling tiles. And then just don't talk near a vent. Carpet, or when you do your hard flooring, if you're gonna redo your hard flooring upstairs, a nice pad.
Yeah,
I just didn't know if you were worried about that.
Yeah.
You're not.
No,
You're
like
not.
I had when we finished our basement, we knew we were gonna rent it, so we did like the best of the best insulation at the time. And I had a crying colicky baby and they couldn't hear.
So it's a cost consideration too, like,
Yeah.
are you doing a short term, mid-term or long term too, right? Because if somebody's paying a month, they're not going to critique that as much because they're leaving some,
Yeah.
right? If they're looking for a long-term commitment and stuff, it might be more important.
Yeah, a long-term renter, they're gonna come check out the space, they're gonna know they're living under you and they're gonna be committing to that.
Yeah.
A midterm and a short term on the listing, you're gonna wanna put that you will be staying under us.
So my daughter, another daughter, was living in a basement apartment and he had soundproofed just one room and that was. They had to put the TV in that room.
Mm.
So the rest of it, he hadn't worried so much about, but.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So this is an attic space we finished, we put a mini split up there rather than worrying about running central air. This is a basement apartment in Helper. So there's a lot of ways you can do this. You can obviously get a cosigner. I found like, cosigners are way, like say a dad helping a son, a college age son buy a house. If that college age son is renting out space, like how much more comfortable would you feel helping your son get into a house, right? Because he has income coming in, right? Renovation loans are amazing. Learn to understand renovation loans, help your clients know that that is an option. They can go in there and they can wrap the cost of creating that ADU right into their mortgage. If they feel like I don't have money, they probably have space somewhere in a loan. If the ADU is already set up, you can get what's called a 1007 appraisal. And that helps with your debt to income ratio because it says this space could rent for this much. They take a percentage of that and they help you, that helps you qualify for your loan. We've talked about long-term, short-term, mid-term, so we won't go there, and then keep costs down. Do you see this helper? So you need to know like the value you want to add, you need to know your neighborhood and what you're improving your space for. But these, you guys, these three appliances right here, plus the fridge right here. They were demoing an entire apartment complex in Provo. My husband's the best at finding deals and they were getting rid of appliances. We walked in this like abandoned for years apartment complex and wheeled these out 4 flights of stairs by ourselves. I almost lost a finger, but they look great in a basement apartment in Helper. We're talking Helper, guys. They don't care. They just want an oven. So, sorry, I love Helper. But what's great about that remodel too is I had people calling and saying, thank you for helping improve the neighborhood. Three phone calls. People that didn't even see the house, I was like, you're welcome. That one, and even in Helper, sold in a weekend over asking price. And it was like the wrong blue color too. Did we see that? Did we see the wrong? Oh, anyway, there was a wrong blue. Okay, so here's my best advice. If you're helping a new first-time home buyer, help them just plan for an ADU. You're like, do you think you would want the opportunity to rent your basement? And show them you could do this here. It's like the best option. Like it brings so much hope to them when they say, you're telling me I could do that? I could rent my basement? That would work here? Yeah, I can see it. You could do this, this, and this. Right? Talk to a lender that loves numbers. I'm not that person. And so if they can help with the scenarios of they can get into a house for this, they could rent for this. Help them feel informed. I begged somebody yesterday, we've been talking forever. I'm like, call a lender. She's like, really? I'm like, yes, please just do it because you're not thinking right. You don't know that this is possible. Okay. And then make smart decisions, right? We're not going to over rehab. We're not gonna put crazy fancy things in basement apartments, guys. Renters are renters. They're just happy for it to be clean, somewhat new, right? And livable, functional.
And most basement apartments are trash, so
Most
if you
are
make it just a
trash.
little bit better.
Yeah, most really are.
And when somebody's going out to look for rentals, if it's just a little bit better than all the rest of them,
Mhm.
that's the.
If it's clean and bright and really functional, it's going to rent every time. So that's what I have for you. Any questions? Yeah.
So have you run into any problems if the people that you sell a home to move out and want to rent the top and the bottom? Is that a city or a county issue you run into?
That is now their issue
Mhm.
and not my problem, but
But
they,
the rules along that, because you're talking about owner occupied for the most part. I think
Yeah.
they're- Cities typically don't like it, is that?
yeah, you wouldn't be able to. You would have to try to get an exception to have a legal duplex. That's hard.
Okay,
That is really hard. But in the market we're in right now, they can easily sell it to somebody who's gonna do the same thing. Yeah, and I do know flippers, or investors that are buying something that could be house hacked like this and renting both, and then they're just taking their chances. I don't love that. I don't love, being dishonest. But a lot of people are doing it. But your neighbors in your cities and your counties have the right to crack down on you and say, I do not like this, and then you're done.
so the House Bill 82
Uh-huh.
is specific to owner occupied property. that
Yep.
you can- okay.
Primary residences, owner occupied, yep. Any other questions? Okay, this is my info right here. I teach lots of virtual classes. You're gonna find my schedule on letsflipandgrow.com. Instagram at Let's Flip and Grow. Facebook, I'm just Kaylee Fawcett, and then my direct contact info. If you wanna do like a strategy planning session, then we just text me and we'll just set something up and.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, you guys on Zoom have any questions? We weren't intentionally ignoring. Ashley, you were watching the chat or? Oh, let me check real quick. Jennifer, Veronica, Shirley, good to see you guys. We have a sponsor in the house, so stay with us for a minute. Kaylee, that was awesome.
Hey.
That's for her, Kaylee, again. That was really good. Reach out to her. What a great resource. Brainstorm, collaborate, network. It's all good stuff. Is Sandra here? Oh, she's-
There's probably questions within here for Karen.
Oh, I don't, well, we
Any
asked for
questions?
questions.
Yeah, no, she was full.
No.
Nobody?
You didn't hear her ask the questions. We're gonna stick around and we're gonna talk
Yeah.
afterwards.
Kinda. Just going over more like your Well, I guess do you hold on to any of your rentals? I mean, your properties?
I haven't yet. We are going to try to acquire rental this year, but it's not going to be a cheap event.
When you're flipping a house, are you using your own money?
Okay, do I need to come back up here? Okay. When I'm flipping a house, this can be another class, but I'm using hard money and some of our own money for the gap funding because a hard money lender will usually only fund 80%. So I have to come to closing with 20%. And then I have to have enough money to start my rehab, but then my hard money lender will give me draws. As I pay the electrical, he'll give me draws on that.
So I was just gonna say, your story is really cool because this is all about house hacking, right? So
Mhm.
he's got several rentals and now he's doing ADUs like separate from them. I think that will be really cool to hear a little bit about what you're doing and how you're doing that. Because like in my mind, to think of all the rentals we have and the extra land that some of those properties have, like they could be on a third of an acre. How have you done that? Because that's definitely house hacking, right?
Yeah,
So.
I mean, like Haley was saying, going to the city and finding out what is allowed in the area and following all those, because they're pretty strict on the detached, and then you have to live in that property for it to be rented out separately.
Mhm.
So I don't know what it would be for like renting out the entire property to a family with the ADU.
Yeah, you can do that. Totally
Yeah.
fine. Mhm.
And then can they rent, I mean, and then what they do, sublease it?
That would probably not be allowed, but if you have a long-term renter in there, do you know everything they're doing? No,
Thank
so
goodness.
they might, if it's set up for an ADU, they might just do that anyway, but really what would probably happen is that generational living. I'm thinking of some of the renters we had,
Yeah, oh, okay, so,
so then it would be fine because they're all related.
yeah, so like I said, I do have a story like that.
Okay.
I had a house in Provo where I put a kitchen in the basement.
Yeah,
And the area got rezoned to not allow, the duplex living was separate, and they said, well, you can rent the whole house out. But you gotta take the door down, that wonderful door you put up.
yeah,
You gotta, well, they said I could leave the door as long as I left a non-locking handle on it.
wow.
And they said you can rent it out to 3 individuals. So you could basically do room rents and it'd be like one whole house being rented. But one of the markets is marketing towards the 2-family, right? Like, hey, you want your mother-in-law to live downstairs,
Yeah,
perfect setup for that, and that's totally doable because they're all related.
yeah.
Um,
So I think it just allows for a bigger family to be in the house.
When you did your ADU that's separate from the property, is that when you're living in then?
Yep, I'm living in it.
But all the rest of your properties are kind of, we've got 2 non-conforming duplexes where
Mhm.
they were houses.
Yeah, that's why I thought non-conforming duplexes
Yeah,
and legally rented out.
and I've got the same thing, the
Yeah.
cities know.
Yeah,
So, but, I mean, but doing what you're doing and then selling it to someone who's gonna do a non-conforming, they could get in trouble, and so it is something that.
You just disclose.
Yeah.
Just disclose. And like she said earlier too, it depends on the neighborhood and the subdivision. HOAs are gonna be your biggest problem because they've got their own little rules. I don't give a shit what the city says you can do. This is what we do.
they try.
Right? But you get into, say, for instance, an older neighborhood in Sandy where people have lived there for 40 years. They're gonna be watching your house like a hawk. You start doing a remodel and you're getting calls. You ever had a situation like
Oh, yeah,
that?
you have a dumpster, they're like, yeah.
Yeah,
get it.
what you doing? Yep, they're standing there watching deliveries, right? Thanks, Kelly. So, yeah, let's continue this discussion a little bit, while we have lunch. And Sandra, come on up here. Sandra is with Acclaimed Home Warranty. Thank you, Sandra, for coming in. No, see it. Those. Yeah. Nice.
Video coordinator for college.
All right.
Oh.
If you can pull up, just the website, where do I stand right here? That way the people online can see the brochures that I handed out.
Okay. So I think
There you go.
what I have to do though is duplicate. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I knew this was gonna take just a
No
minute.
worries.
Show him.
That should be my website.
It disconnected somehow.
I can start a little bit if you want me to.
Okay, okay, I'll get it, I'll get it.
I'm Sandra, I'm with Acclaimed Home Warranty. Who's heard of Acclaimed? Please raise your hand. All right, so we've been in business for a little over 11 years. I've been with the company for 7. And just a little bit about us. We are a local family-owned company here in Utah. We actually do service some other states, Boise, Idaho. There you go.
Yeah, you can see it. For some reason, it's kicking me off that one.
Oh. So I just kind of want, I was just gonna show the people online the brochure since they didn't have it. If not, they can I can just tell them directly go there. If that works. So just a few things about us. Within our brochure, we have a few plans to choose from. We have a premium, standard, and an ultimate plan. Our ultimate plan is our top plan, which is 600. If you go to the page, you can see the differences in the plan and the coverage items. You'll notice that the ultimate plan, of course, does have more coverage. That's the better plan. I always suggest to go with that plan because it just has more coverage. With that plan, it comes with a free rekey service. So up to 6 locks and 4 brand new keys. So they'll go in and change the components on the inside of the locks. And they get 4 brand new keys. And that can be done right away after closing. Also too, on our ultimate plan, we're actually unlimited on our HVAC. What that means is we actually cover more than 1 unit. Excuse me. So more 1 furnace or 2 furnaces, 2 ACs, 3 ACs, we actually cover them. So we don't actually have a cap on our ultimate plan. You'll notice with all home warranties, they'll all have limits. And I highly suggest that if you're gonna get your client a home warranty, that you know what the limits are. It's very important to know what those are. Thank you. Thanks. So for those that are online, that don't have a brochure, you can see our website is pretty easy. You can go like to the state. So if you go to Utah, click on Utah, you can go down and you can order here. We also do consumers and rental properties. So if you had existing, like you wanted to get one on your home, you can actually get one. And then real estate transactions, and that'll take you to the order. In regards to the brochure, is about here, about us. For those that are online, want to go to the brochure that we're going over, and then it will take you to the states. You're going to see cute little gnomes everywhere because that's our little mascot. His name is Norman. Yeah, and then Greta came just in time for Valentine's. So for those that like gnomes, I have some for you. Not everybody's a gnome lover, but yeah, I have one for you. So that's this way. Our website's pretty easy. A couple of things within that ultimate plan, the AC coverage in the Freon. So y'all know what the R22 is. The old Freon, that's past 2010, excuse me. So 2010, anything older than 2010 is going to have the old Freon in it. They don't make it anymore. It's very expensive. So if you have a home, the AC is working fine, but it's a R22, just know that helps cover in that ultimate plan. So with that, and then also I wanted to go over, so in regards to knowing what your client's getting on a home warranty, it's always best to check the contract. I'm willing to send out my contract if you ever wanted to see it. This brochure is basically a sample of what's covered, and the contract will show you what's covered, what's not covered. So I've actually, with my job, I look through all home warranties just to kind of see comparisons. And it's really good to know what your client's getting. So, and then if you have any questions, you can always just reach out to me. I'm your go-to gal. So you're the realtor, I'm your home warranty gal. Yeah, so just keeping that in mind. And then, what questions, I know that there's probably a ton of questions about home warranties, that you have seen in a transaction. Like, what have you seen happen in a transaction that you've had an issue or you have questions about a home warranty? Does anybody have any of those questions? Probably have thousands.
I think one big thing is just reminding the client that they have one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is a huge one. And I think that's why it's so important to have this brochure within their closing packet.
So do you have any communication with the, say, a buyer
Mhm.
buys a new property and they have a home warranty with a claim, do you reach out to them? Do you
So-
establish a connection that way?
So what we do, so only if you ask me to, I will, but normally, so it goes through our orders team, they order it, goes to the title company, they, do the invoicing. And then we send out the welcome email, which will have their contact information, their contracts and all of that, their contract number and all of that. I am happy to do that. I've been asked actually to go to closings. And I think it's a great idea. Like, I'm happy to go to closings so I can meet the buyers, right? And then kind of just let them know, hey, I'm a home warranty gal. This is the information. Give them my card, give them my information. So.
Well, then they
I think
would
that's-
forget that they have a home warranty. and
Yeah.
That's a really big one. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a nice service. One of the questions I would
Yes.
have is I know it's been really tough for the home warranty business the last few years.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of increased their price. I see you're at 600, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But these caps you're talking about,
Mhm.
without naming names or anything
Yeah.
like that, can you explain a few, like, let's say, like yesterday, I just had one of my clients have a problem with a water heater.
Okay.
Based on the ones that are local here
Mhm.
against you. On a water heater, what would be the limits if it went past?
Yeah, so overall plumbing is what they're gonna indicate. And if you look at the plumbing section in the brochure, it will show you the items that are covered. So overall, 1,500 for us. So if they had a water heater go out, if it was, so first home warranties will repair. If it's not repairable, then it goes into replacements. Let's say the water heater does go out. And so what we would do is we cover the water heater and the labor on it.
Not the expansion tank, so those. are
So
the ones-
if there is an expansion tank and that expansion tank goes bad, yes, we cover it. If there's not an expansion tank, then so it needs to be added, that is not covered because there's not one there, so.
But your contractor won't do it without adding the expansion. tank,
Yes, so plumbers they are required by state to bring it up to code. So it needs the straps, it needs the drains, it needs the pan, it needs all of those things, which are considered modifications.
So these are things that when we're walking through with our clients during
Mm-hmm.
our inspection, we want to talk to them about those things because
Yes,
when they get a home warranty call, when they have a $500, $800 bill after the home warranty call, they say that home warranty wasn't any good.
I know.
And
Yeah.
you-
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing too. Home warranties don't cover 100%. You're paying for a $600 policy. It's kind of like insurance, right? So also our service fees are $60. So we still keep that as a low too. Because I know it's really important for your clients because it's up to 75 to 125 just for a service fee. So,
Most of you can work that price into the seller paying for it.
right,
So-
for that 600. Yeah,
I
So-
just want to point out what you said. You said if it's there, they're gonna replace it, coupled with what Lynn just said. If you're doing your inspections and you're going through prior to closing, you might want to guide towards certain asks during your repairs or whatever to
Yeah.
bring things up, just in case if it's an older water heater,
Right.
at least get the expansion tank on there, request something
Right.
like that.
So some of the times when, there's times where the water heater's working fine, the older water heaters work better than the newer ones, right? Even the AC units or furnaces. So basically, home warranty will help cover the system and the labor. So all of those modifications that need to be done could be, I've seen it from anywhere from 50 to $1,200. It all depends on all that's needed, because they'll have to take out, sometimes the pipes are all rusted out and they have to bring it up to code. So that's what the home warranty will help with. It may not seem like, it's like, they're not covering anything. I hear that so much. Right? So, but it's always good to have them read that contract. The contract is very, very important.
Highly doubt
They'll read it, right?
anyone reads it.
I know.
So, go back to the air conditioning and
Yes.
heating and furnace. What are your maxes on those?
So we're unlimited on HVAC. So there's not a cap on HVAC. So but you go up to premium coverage, the premium is gonna be 2,500 each. So 2,500 on the furnace and then 2,500 on the AC.
So that's an actual payout.
That's the max it pays out. Yeah, and then with the standard plan, I think it goes down to 18 or 15. So of course, you'll see the differences in the plans. You're gonna be covering more. Also too, boiler systems, we cover those. So some homes still have those. Right, so and that, going back to kind of like what the inspection is, I get a lot of this where the inspection says that it's working fine, but it's like, then you show the picture and it's all rusted out. And it's like, you can see that it's like, it's had damage before, water damage. So that's where an inspector will say, get a licensed plumber, right? You'll see that on inspections, or have an HVAC professional take a look at it.
Deflection,
Mm-hmm.
have somebody else get it.
Yep, exactly, because they're not licensed, so they don't know to tell you to do that, so I see that a lot. Peace of mind, the buyer thinks that, that system's not gonna make it for the next month, then I suggest that, just to have a contractor go in and take a look at it. But we share our contractors, so you don't call any hour or same day, don't call those people, they'll try to replace it for like $20,000.
So are you saying that, let's say the water heater lasted 3 months,
Mhm.
but you asked to see the inspection
Uh-huh.
and you saw that it had rust? Would you then not cover that water?
Well, if it's in working condition, and if it looks like it's all rusted out, like it is, like it has damage to it, and you're gonna get it looked at, it'll have to be evaluated. But if it's in working condition, because a lot of things are working and they'll continue to work for like a couple of years.
Do you know how many sellers will say, I bought a home warranty, yeah, the home
Mhm.
warranty will cover it? And
Right.
those are the arguments that we as real estate agents
Mhm.
have to have,
Right,
is no, not necessarily.
Right.
If you can already tell that it has damage. But that's good for people to have the knowledge,
Yeah.
because a newer agent wouldn't know,
exactly.
is that the case that, oh
Right.
yeah, home warranty covers everything, it doesn't
Mhm, yeah.
matter.
They'll say
how
that.
it's working,
But it
it's
does,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also too, if you have questions on an inspection, at that time, you can always call me, send it over to me, and I can take a look at it, and I can say, yeah, nothing looks wrong with it, looks good, it's not leaking, right? I can help those situations. They are very helpful, because I know that on home inspections, they do, I think you want to know what they're doing, right, or what's going on with the house, that's why you pay them, right?
Well, and you have one of the very best HVAC contractors as your significant other.
Yeah,
And so if you guys
Yeah.
ever need a good contact for
Yeah.
that, call Sandra for that.
yeah, you can go out and do those. Hey,
Can you get this, say I own my home,
Mhm.
can I get this at any time?
Yes, yep,
What
so
do you require? So if I wanted to buy it for my home right now, I could have been.
it would just be a 30-day wait period, so you wouldn't be able to make any claims within the first 30 days,
Okay.
and then after the 30 days,
So
it goes
you
into
need
12 months.
inspection, right?
Mhm.
Then is it renewable every year?
Yes. We have monthly payments, you can do monthly or you can do annual on the,
But she's a pre-existing house.
huh?
How much is a pre-existing house?
So it'd be, the consumer pricing is $750, but as you as a realtor, I would actually give you $100 off on that. So it'd be $650. And then, one other thing I wanted to do, so the best way to explain a home warranty that I think is really important, it helps reduce the out-of-pocket cost to a homeowner. So it's gonna lower the cost if on repairs and replacements. Within this brochure, you'll see there's a comparison of repairs and replacements, like what a system would cost. HVAC on cost of repair would be $582. The cost of replacement could be $9,790. If you're paying $1,500 for a new system, it's a pretty good deal. Right? That's what. So just kind of, it's kind of, it's a home warranty, right? Like, I get it. I hear all the things on home warranties.
Well, and it's an option we should be giving every client that we work with, because the last thing you want to do is have a problem, say, why didn't you tell me? I could have bought a plan that would have covered this, well, right?
Yeah.
So have the discussion early, share with brochures, have the
Yeah.
conversation, make it their decision.
Well,
I think that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, it's a good touch point too throughout the year, like every 3 months you call like, hey, I just wanted to call, remind you. You have a home warranty,
Mhm.
if there's anything that's going on, that's
I like that.
covered.
Yeah.
I like that.
So we don't send anything out in the mail. I was so shocked of all the flyers and everything that I was getting in the mail on home warranties. That wasn't even for the home. It's like, that wasn't the home warranty purchase. And there's so many people that have paid it thinking that's what they had to do. So they had our home warranty and they also purchased it because they got it in the mail. Because it has their lender's information on it. So it's like, oh, it looks like it's legit. I gotta pay for this home warranty. So just let them know anything that comes in the mail. The home warranty doesn't send anything in the mail.
Yeah, I think what Ian said is a good touch to just follow up with your clients. You should check in and see how things are going anyway.
Yeah.
Just as a story to tell, I had a client that I saw on Facebook ranting about having to replace her AC unit.
Yeah.
And it was a brand new AC unit, so it should have been covered by the manufacturer.
Mhm.
But there was a big argument on who was gonna cover it, nobody was taking responsibility, and her rant was that she had to pay for it herself, and I messaged her, and I said, why didn't you use your home warranty or call me?
Yeah,
So, cause I hadn't kept in touch with that, so she wasn't
Right.
thinking about me for this problem she's having with her house, which would have been covered. So it was a bad experience for her all around, and she had
Yeah.
already done it and paid for it.
that's why I always say, try to put the brochure in there, at least they know, and their buyers have it, like, they know they have a home warranty, whoever you use, right? There's a handful of people, or a handful of home warranties out there, just making sure that they know who their home warranty is. Also too, on that note, with manufacturer warranties, so home warranties, they'll go to they'll have the clients go through the manufacturer warranty. And the home warranty will help pick up on labor, because it's through a manufacturer, they have you deal with the manufacturer in regards to the replacements.
And they help that communication.
Mhm.
you know.
Yep.
Awesome.
So just kind of keep that one in mind too. Also too, you'll see optional coverages. So all of our plans cover up to 6,000 square feet. So if you have anything more than 6,000 square feet, it's $250 that's added on. Also too, the ultimate plan will cover the fridge, the washer dryers, one water heater. So if you have a home that has 2 water heaters, you can actually add on those items. Also too, if you have high-end appliances, really expensive ones, you can actually add on the professional series appliance kitchen for $100, which adds on 1,000 more. So that's always nice to know too. Second kitchen, they have one downstairs, you can do a hot tub, pools, roof leak repairs. External pipe leak, that one is $100 a year for 1,000. That doesn't cover much because those are very expensive, but we do have those. Septic tank, fireplaces. So you could also pay for discounted prepaid service fees up front. You can pay like by $50. It's $50 for a service fee. So prepaid, you can actually buy those. If you have like, there's been a time where somebody had like $1,800. So they bought 2 years and then they had a credit on the account, which is the buyer's credit. So it goes to the buyers whenever they're needing it. So just know that we accept buyer credits as well. So any questions? One other thing I was going to show you is we have listing coverage. Listing coverage is no cost upfront. It is, to make it very clear, listing coverage, it doesn't cost anything. It's based on a standard plan. If you have a claim, it's a $60 service fee. So the overall limit on a listing coverage is $1,500. Because you're not purchasing a plan, it just helps for the items 500 towards HVAC, 500 towards plumbing. So just know that if you use it, we want to convert it to the buyer. If they don't use it and the buyer comes in and they have a different home warranty they want to use, whatever, we can just cancel it. Now, if you use it, you want to make sure that you convert it because we may come back and ask the sellers to pay for the repairs that were done. So just know that. It's nothing's for free, right? But yeah, so if you have more questions about that, I'm happy to answer those questions.
Hey, I want to make one comment, and thank you, Sandra, that was awesome. One comment on what she just said about like, you know, you mentioned somebody had extra money, so they got 2 years and they get this credit or whatever. Sometimes we're asking for seller concessions to be applied towards whatever at our discretion, right? Prepaids, closing costs, this and that. So consider if you're lucky enough in your negotiations to get more than they can actually use for their loan amount. I've had home inspection invoices and home warranty invoices that weren't even part of the deal sent to title to be paid at closing.
Yep.
That falls under the prepaid thing. If they've got extra, use every dollar
Yeah,
for your.
even with HVAC, if there's some things that, you know, they want done or
Mhm.
yeah, plumbing, I've seen it all where they can actually come in and do some things and then just send it to title and get paid at closing.
And sometimes that's a better option. You know, the clause also says may also reduce the purchase price. Not much benefit in that, but a dollar for dollar cost benefit for something like this, it's good for your client.
Yeah. And then also too, I just wanted to share, I know that you know, and you know, but One Home Solutions. So Kristen Combs, I used to work with her, but this is another option. So if your client doesn't get a home warranty and you have clients that don't know much about maintenance and stuff, this is good for maintenance in your home. So home warranties don't cover for maintenance. This is a good plan to have for the items in your house. Filters, they do winters, then all of the weathers, as in, you know, the spring and all that stuff for lawns, and so I have more information on this if you are interested in this as well. And
Are
this
you
400.
Are you,
So I'm promoting it for the simple fact that I believe in it for this, it's good, because we don't cover for maintenance, right? If you have something that's lack of maintenance, and you have young, older people, right, that don't know how to do a lot of the things, I think this plan here is really good to help with your clients.
I've been kind of watching to see how they do, because
Yeah,
it was
it's
when
so
we
new.
first learned about it.
Mhm.
It was just so good to be true, and they
Right.
actually have changed some things, but it's a great touch for any of your clients, guys. Because, I mean, even us as landlords, if we get someone in there to do
Mhm.
preventative, the cost of this per year is
Yeah.
actually pretty awesome.
That or it's 40, it's actually today, if there's a discount, so it's 500. So we're offering, I'm offering 400. So Kristen's like, here, like, just hand them out, offer a discount, so. But yeah, so I mean, this is a really good tool. I mean, paint, paint, flooring, floorboards, things that you just, you need to call a handyman for. This is a One Home Solutions. I have more pamphlets if you're interested, so. Hey,
Fantastic. Thank you, Sandra.
you're welcome.
Hey, Mary, you're our sole survivor on Zoom. Thanks for staying to the end.
He's like, I'm out.
That's awesome. Okay, the rest of you guys, hopefully you have some time to stick around and have a bite, and let's just visit and network. See you, Mary.
Bailey, that was awesome. Yeah, super fun.